Hello YouTube, this is RaPsCaLLion. I finally got around to doing the second part of my 500 sub special. It took me a little bit longer than I wanted to really. I got stuck working on a few other projects. So the good news there is that there'll actually be a few other videos coming out again shortly with some more contraptions and useful redstone components. Today, so I've got a few things to share with you, mostly just updates to some of the things that I've built already, some modifications, some improvements, some efficiencies, and I just want to share those things with you quickly. And then I actually have a bit of a challenge to issue to my subscribers and the Redstone community at the end of the video. So stick around. It's not going to be a long one, but hopefully you'll enjoy some of the improvements that I'm going to show you. So the first one here is the exact hopper item buffer, exact item hopper buffer, I think is what I called it, but modified so that you can actually buffer up to 64 different item types. So you'll see it's the same quad hopper setup with an extra clock at the top just to move items up and into a larger container before sending on its way out. Still too wide tileable and not much bigger than just the other exact item hopper buffer that I shared. So I think you can get the gist of what's going on here. So if we get something into this hopper, it's going to turn the signal off, allowing this clock to pump the items over into, or sorry, up from the dropper into this hopper and into the chest. We're going to lock these two hoppers the same way, so that'll be our buffering system. So we can actually buffer up to 64 different item types in this system. So that's quite an improvement over the last one. I don't like how it comes out the back like this with the extra redstone dust, but I haven't been able to find a way to avoid that, unfortunately. So let's take a look at this thing. I don't know if I have anything in here already. I've got 16 concrete blocks with 2 buffered already. So let's just reset this whole thing. So I'm buffering for 8 items as I was doing before. So let's put 7 in just to see what the system looks like. So you'll see items coming through here. Again, silent, so no changes there. So it already did our 7, so it should be in this hopper here. Perfect. So your buffers are this large chest and these 2 hoppers. So there's your 64. You've got 54 in the chest and 5 each in the 2 hoppers below. Our count should be down to 1. Perfect. I'm going to put 2 items in. So we'll show the hopper buffer transfer, and then the 1 item should remain in the buffer. So we should get 8 items here. Perfect. And the 1 in the buffer. So that's it. Your count is as many as you can put into this hopper here. And that's all there is to it. Just the 1 item in this hopper. This quad hopper setup is so versatile. There's so many things that you can do with it. I've used it as, well, I use it in this item buffer. It is a clock. It is a timer. It is a pulse divider. It's a pulse multiplier. And I've found some other use cases for it as well too, which is I'm going to share in some of the other videos. But I do have an update to the pulse counter version of this, or the pulse divider version of this, so that it is also now 2-wide tileable. Again, so here's our quad hopper setup. We're going to read the signal off of these 2 torches here. So every state change that happens between these torches, as one comes on, the other's going off, you can detect that signal as your output pulse. And your input is just going to be off of these observers here or this rail. So you could do a quick pulse and it'll count it, or you could do really like however you want to do the input into these observers is your pulse count. So we're counting 8, and then we should get the ding. So I'm going to do a quick pulse just to count it as 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I hit that a little too quickly, but you heard the note block go off there. So we are full count, and same thing going back the other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There you go. So you don't need to read both of these. You could actually just do it like this and take your signal. You could read upwards and take your signal if you want to as well too. It's all It's all up to how you want to do this. These observers can actually go on this side as well, and you could read the signal from here, as long as it's an input into these blocks, actually, not necessarily the observers. You can't pulse too fast, or you're going to burn these torches out. But there's a much more compact pulse divider, 2-wide tileable in a pretty small space, and up to 64 times 5 as your total divide. Anyway, so there's another update. I wanted to show you on video the update to the tileable dropper elevator. So someone had posted a design that was actually pretty similar to this, but it wasn't tileable at the end because they had it reading into a dust and a torch. So if you took in an item that was non-stackable, it would have bled into any adjacent slices. But this is actually, I think this is probably the smallest it's going to get for a tileable dropper elevator. There's really not much more room to work here below, at least a tileable silent dropper elevator that works at hopper speed. This is the improvement compared to my original design. So we are a little bit smaller here, and let's see this thing in operation. Always using the yellow concrete blocks. So we'll drop it into the chest. That's going to hold the item up here. It's going to unlock the clock, and it's going to pulse our items up. So you can see everything coming through. And it shouldn't take long to get through the stack. Again, it holds the first item in just because of the delay on the clock, but it'll still pump it out without making any noise. There we go. All the way to the top. There's also this one I use in the multi-item sorter setup, and a lot of other things actually quite frequently, because you don't always need a tileable dropper elevator. This is my standard go-to for a non-tileable version. You stay 2 wide on the clock, and then you're 1 wide on the tower itself, but it's less materials than the other one, and it's probably a little bit more of a practical use case. But you can do the same thing here as well too. Take 64 items, drop it into the chest, and you're going to read up the tower and in. I don't think I need to show any tutorials on these two, because these are pretty easy. I don't do tutorials too often because the things that I build seem pretty simple, and if you take a video pause real quick, you can probably capture exactly what's going on any of these systems, right? So they're pretty straightforward, and again, these things I know for certain work on Java, and I'm still in 1.16 here, in pre-release 5 right now. So these are all working with whatever current snapshot or pre-release that we're dealing with, and they'll work in 1.16 release when it comes out as well too. But I say that because Bedrock, I get a lot of questions if things work in Bedrock, and the honest answer is I have no idea. I've tried several times to get things to work on PS4 Bedrock edition, specifically for the multi-item sorter, and it doesn't work out well. I can get one slice of the thing working consistently at about a 12 redstone tick clock, but as soon as you introduce another slice, the whole thing breaks, and I don't really know why, other than it's bedrock and redstone seems to be a bit random, unfortunately. So those are the few updates that I wanted to share with you in this video. Now, the challenge that I talked about is another modification to the quad hopper setup to make a buffered pulse multiplier. So here it is here, and I'll explain what's going on, but the challenge is going to be to create this thing in a 2-wide tileable form. I've made some attempts. I can't get there, but I'm pretty sure that the community working together could probably come up with something more compact than this. But here, I'll show you how this thing works. So right now, again, we're counting for 8 items. So every pulse that I'm going to give, we're going to get 8 pulses in return. So this is the input. This will be the output here. Again, this is silent, and that's the objective here. I really prefer the systems to be silent because a lot of time you're going to be building these things around your base or wherever in survival, and you don't want to hear a bunch of clicking and dinging and pistons and things moving all the time. And I know you can move things away from base, but it's nice to have things close by. So here, 1 pulse, and there's our 8 outputs. Now when I said buffered, I can give this 2 pulses and it's going to give me 16 in return. There we go. So you can give it however many inputs you need, and you'll get the multiplied outputs out at the end. All it's doing here is we've got a dropper full of items that push into this dropper, which sets the cutoff to the clock and returns the item back in. So we can push 1 in, and you can see it return back. If I push 2 in, it's already returned the 1. Now it'll return the 2nd. So that's how we're buffering here. Same quad hopper setup. Okay, we've got 1 dust in here on this hopper, which is also locking the clock and locking the other hopper on this side. When it takes the count, it unlocks so that it'll transfer from one hopper to the other, and it'll release the clock to give us our number of outputs during that period of time. And then this, once it comes back on, will keep it locked again. So here. There you go. See how it comes back on at the end there? That's our lock. So we could do 2, 3, and that'll give us 24. There we go. So challenge is out to you, Redstone community, to see if you can make this more compact than it already is, and if you can fit it into a 2 wide tileable space. Anyway, that's my sub special part 2. Sorry it took so long to get out. We'll have some new videos coming out in the next couple days, and hopefully a few more contraptions that you guys will enjoy. Thanks again, YouTube, and have a great day.